I'm Stephanie Sage, President and CEO of Sage Restoration, and I'm finally getting around to doing another Sage Spotlight. I haven't done one in I don't know how many months now, I think since the holidays. Today I have a special guest and a special friend here with me. It's Valerie Vaughn with Apex Business Advisors. I knew I was going to mess that up. So anyway, I just want to kind of go over how we met.
Okay.
We met at NABO.
Yes.
A NABO meeting.
Yes.
I think it was the very first meeting I ever attended.
It was one of my first as well.
Yeah. And then we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
And we're both still very active with NABO. In fact, Valerie is our past president. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like I actually wasn't part of NABO. I kind of dropped out for a few years. But
you weren't feeling well?
No. Yeah, I had some back issues and some other health stuff with my mother. It kind of took up some time. But NABO kind of faltered there for a while, and you were just really instrumental to bringing NABO back to life again and really increasing the membership.
Well, I had a great board, and it was a lot of work, but I had a lot of help from the board, and learned that working with NABO National is really important to a chapter's success. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, and now it's growing like crazy and doing really well.
Yeah, well, I admire you for that because you did an awesome
you.
job, and appreciate you doing that. I know everybody that's a member does appreciate that as well. So, let's see. I know that you have a science background.
Yes.
But you just told me, I wasn't even aware of this, that she has a PhD in chemistry, which blows my mind because I could barely pass Chemistry 101 but when I was back in college. Just a PhD in chemistry kind of freaks me out. But so tell me a little bit about why you went into chemistry and what you did, with that degree.
I went into chemistry because I was good at it. In high school, I took chemistry. I took a couple years of chemistry, and I enjoyed it. I am good in math. I like the rules of chemistry before you are allowed to become creative with it. And I often get like, how did someone with a PhD in chemistry become a business broker?
Yeah, I was wondering
and
that.
my answer is that life is a journey, and you just have to flex. I started out the very traditional way out of graduate school. I went to work for a pharmaceutical company, Merriam Laboratories, and I worked in the lab.
Is that what brought you to Kansas City?
That's what brought me to Kansas City.
Because you're from the East Coast.
Yes, I'm originally from Delaware.
Okay.
And I worked with Merriam for 3 years, and then someone from Hewlett-Packard called me and said, hey, would you want to interview for this position? And I did. And that position was a technical expert in between sales and the scientists that we were trying to help. And I got really curious about sales. There was an opportunity to move into sales with HP, and I moved. And then there were just various complex solution sales that I kept growing into as my career developed. I had a friend who said, when I was between jobs, she said, I think you should talk to Anita. What Anita does is something that I think you'd be really good at and you'd enjoy. And within 5 minutes, I knew that what Anita does was for me. And that was the business brokerage. Yeah.
Wow. It's interesting how life can just take you on these random paths that you never would have expected, correct?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You just have to grab the opportunities when they come and make the best of them.
Yeah.
And I think everything I've done up to this point led me to be a business broker, and now I have great skills to be one, and I love what I do. So
yeah, that's obvious because you're awesome at it. You help so many business people in the community. What are some key things that led to your success?
Well, I am very persistent.
I think persistence is key.
Ah.
Really.
Have you read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth?
Which book?
Grit.
Mm-mm.
Well, Angela Duckworth is a scientist who was engaged by the military to find out why, when they recruit the best of the best to go to the military schools, do they still have dropouts? And longer story short, basically passion and perseverance persistence can get you further than raw intelligence or raw athleticism. So
I totally believe that.
I think that me having so much persistence built into my personality, it's allowed me to go for tough things. Like some people think a PhD in chemistry is tough. Well,
I do.
You know, you have to be able to do the work, but then there's a process. It's just something you move through to get to your goal. And I sometimes have trouble along the way, but I just correct what I'm doing and try again.
Right.
So, you know, I think persistence was very important, or has been very important. The other thing is that I love to learn. And my learning has taken me to flex in different jobs. Like, for instance, I was working with Hewlett Packard as a scientist. That part of HP is now Agilent Technologies. And then I moved to the computer side of HP, and I sold enterprise IT solutions to big companies in Kansas City and that were not Sprint. And that's kind of different from chemistry. And then I went back to science when I helped IBM start life sciences and health care. But I just kept taking a different path and growing into it, and I need to grow.
Right.
This is the first time in my life that I've ever been in one role for more than 3 years.
Wow.
And I think what's allowed me to stay as a business broker for more than 3 years is it's hard. And you're constantly learning because you're constantly trying to find the best buyer match for your seller, and every situation is different.
And plus, maybe you found your true passion.
Yeah,
too.
I do
that
love
always
it.
helps.
I do love it.
Yeah.
But everything I've done up to this point prepared me to be a business broker. I don't think you can go out of college and become a business broker. Just
that
wouldn't
would
work.
probably be tough. You don't have enough life experience.
Yeah.
Maybe unless you grew up maybe in a family business, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or something.
I don't know.
But I think there's a lot of truth to what you said, is that more than, high intelligence or being, the superstar athlete, that requires hard work too. And, a lot of it's just hard work. Because, I think back to how I got where I'm at, and it's just persistence and not, you may get down for a day and not giving up, and not being afraid of failure. Because I think a lot of times women tend to feel like you have to be perfect before you really dive into something, and I've learned along the way that I just say, you know what, we'll figure it out, and we'll make it happen, we'll make it work, because I've learned that I have those skills, and so do you, and we have it inside of us, and we just use it.
Do you remember? Were you at Laura Laban's NABO presentation?
I don't.
Laura Laban owns the Culinary Center of Kansas City.
It was wonderful.
And she spoke to the Kansas City NABO chapter earlier this month about her career, or her business, how she had developed it through the years, and to be inspirational and give us a chance to ask her questions about our businesses. Anyway, during her presentation, she said that she thought the definition of an entrepreneur was someone who was more afraid of not trying something than of failing.
I just totally believe that, because to me, that's how I live. Like, I joked in the interview recently with the board that is something wrong with me, because sometimes I just put myself out there. Like, fear motivates me in kind of a weird way, because when she said that, I totally related to it, because for me, it's the fear of not being successful. You know what I mean? That motivates me.
It really resonated for me, because it was the start of my movement into the career path I took. Because I was on a chemistry, science career path, and there was a sales position open in the Hewlett Packard Kansas City office. And I thought, I could either go for that job and see if I'll get it and see if I'll be successful, or I can run the rest of my life if I would have been any good. And I didn't want to
Right.
I wanted to go for it. Turned out I loved it, and I was very good at it.
Right. So you overcame your fear of doing something outside your comfort zone, because a lot of science people or engineers tend to maybe not be more outgoing like salespeople, or just, you know what I mean? So that might have been, or just like me wanting to go into chemistry, that would be a huge fear.
I was probably only a good chemist, and I'm a great salesperson.
Right. But if you hadn't taken that leap, like you said, you never would have known, and you wouldn't be on this awesome path that you're on
and I wouldn't
today.
be sitting here
with me.
Talking to all of you.
So have you had a mentor or anybody in particular that you think's really inspired you or helped you along the way?
Wow, that's a tough question because a mentor, probably not. But I've had a lot of mentors along the way to help me with different situations. I also have worked with life coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Like I worked with a life coach for 2 years before I had the comfort and the strength to leave a company that most people would love to be working with.
Mm-hmm.
And the life coach helped me understand myself enough
Mm-hmm.
to get to the point to say, this is wrong for me, I need to leave and do something else. And so I guess in a way they were a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was, just helped you take that leap of faith and try something new.
And understand myself better.
Right.
And then there are a lot of business mentors that I get little bits from, some at Apex,
Mm-hmm.
some at Novo,
Mm-hmm.
some from like business owners that I interact with that I help sell their businesses. I learn from everybody.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think you can learn something from everybody,
Mm-hmm.
no matter who they are, where you meet them. That can make a difference in your path that you're taking. Well, I know you're a mentor to other women, most definitely, with NAVO and the other groups that you're involved with.
Yeah. Well, it's important for women to help other women.
Most
and
definitely.
I see in your notes there that no one's supposed to know is there that a different type of mentoring is I have an accountability partner. Mm-hmm. I was taking a sales class and the sales trainer said, oh, get an accountability partner. It's really hard to do. I've never known anyone to have it work, but set one up. I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I asked a woman I knew named Dawn to be my accountability partner. And what that meant is we would set our own goals and we would hold one another accountable for what we said we were going to do in that time frame. And we were in vastly different businesses. In fact, I wasn't a business broker at that time. I think we've probably been together maybe 10 years.
Wow.
And we meet every other week for the most part. And she has helped me with my business so much. And I know I've helped her.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I've always admired you guys for doing that. And doing it for that long. I mean, that's a commitment.
It is a commitment. But
Yeah.
it's helped both of us, so
Right.
when something's working, you want more of it.
Really, maybe more of us should do that. But you have to find that person that's committed, and you have to be committed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what else is on my question list? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I know you have tons of business, but you love to read, and you can't even come up really with your favorite books because there's so many. I love business books too. It's hard to pinpoint which are my favorites, but what is one of your favorite quotes?
Oh, my favorite quotes. A long time ago, I read a book that had this phrase in it: winners lose more often than losers do.
Because they try more often. Can't have a fear of failure. Because if you don't fail, you don't move ahead.
Well,
You have
and
to
if
learn
you
from
don't
it.
learn from what your
Yes.
failure was and move forward in a better way. Yeah, so I have loved that one. That has been with me for a long time.
Or the one Laura. What was Laura's? I love that one.
Laura's was, and her definition of an entrepreneur is someone who's more afraid of not trying something than of failing.
Yeah, I love that. I love
And
that one.
so when I became a business broker, it was a big stretch for me because I'll start with my parents. My parents were state employees. They got a paycheck every 2 weeks.
And a
It was
pension
a
too,
very
right?
and a pension. It was a very well funded state that I grew up in, and I worked for Hewlett Packard and IBM and other companies where I got a paycheck every 2 weeks. And what I do now is no paycheck every 2 weeks. I am a woman business owner in that I'm a solopreneur. I have my own business and I work with Apex Business Advisors. Well, my husband had decided to start his own law firm in September of 2013. And I decided to become a business broker
Wow.
in November of 2013, which meant this
No
much
steady
money
paycheck.
was coming into our house. So
Scary.
here's my quote that helped me get through years. It still helps me. Leap and the net will appear.
And it does somehow,
It does.
some way. And that's when we have some tough times. I just think, you know what? We've made it this far. Why would we not continue on?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somehow you always figure it out. You always get that sale when you really need it, or business in the door, what have you,
Yeah.
or collect that money to make payroll. That's always
Yeah.
those can be times like that too. You know, but yeah, that's a good statement too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It's funny. Sometimes I think it's just what you put out there in your mind to achieve, and somehow you just do it.
It was
It's
really
amazing.
scary for me to leap off to a place where I didn't have steady money coming in. But I had gotten to a point in my career where I believed in myself so much, and I had several bosses along the way who didn't care so much about my well-being or my livelihood, that I wasn't ready to trust another person who didn't care about what was best for me with my career.
Right.
So I care most, and I'm doing a darn good job.
You are.
Yeah.
You're amazing. Okay.
So are you, Stephanie. Let's
Thank
just pat
you.
ourselves on the
Yeah.
back.
Okay. What's your definition of success? That's a hard one. 'Cause it's
I'm
so
not
ways
very
to answer.
good with success. I think I've done a lot of pretty hard things in my life, like getting a PhD in chemistry. I also have an MBA. Turning around NAWBO, not alone, but still turning it around. Becoming a business broker, no paycheck. Remember that one? But I never allow myself to celebrate. So it's hard for me to say how I define success. I do know that it's very important to me to have a career, a professional experience that allows me to be challenged and to help people. And when I moved from being a scientist to being someone who sold complex solutions, I realized that I'm really helping people. My clients, when I worked for Hewlett Packard and IBM, had a business issue that they needed to solve. And now I'm working with business owners who are nervous about selling their business but want to move on to the next phase of their life. And they trust me. And it feels really good to help them. So I guess my definition of success is helping others and being challenged.
Yeah, and then speaking of that, you were going to mention the 3 tips to prepare your business for sale.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
queuing that one up. So I became very frustrated in a very short order, starting with Apex Business Advisors, because most business owners don't prepare their businesses for sale.
Because that's actually one of the first things that you should be doing when you start a business. I didn't learn that until, 5 years after I started our business.
That's to prepare an exit.
Right, but I would know that now if I start a new business, that you really should have that. That's, a lot of people just
Start with
don't
the end
even
in
know
mind. Yeah.
that. Yeah. So
And they don't know that they need to prepare, like you just said that, and then they come to me or another business broker, and they need and want us to get them a lot of money for their business, and their business isn't worth what they think it is.
kind of like when you go to sell your house. I think most people probably think same thing probably.
We call it unrealistic expectations. So I would say the first tip is prepare your business for sale. You need at least 3 years. Well, that's
Maybe 5
optimal.
even.
That's optimal. And the reason you need 3 years is because of tax returns.
You have to have them looking
Businesses are acquired typically with financing through a bank, and banks like tax returns that are very clean, that show profit. So that's one reason. And it might sound like, oh my gosh, I have to spend 3 years getting my business ready for sale. But what you're doing is you're actually making your business easier to run and more profitable while you're owning it. So why wouldn't you do that?
Exactly.
So that's a big tip is plan ahead. Along that line, most business owners don't know who to go to for help with preparing. Well, you could go to a business broker. Some of them are consultative. I'm consultative. I'm not high pressure. And help you understand what your business is worth and where some holes are that you can improve to make your business more valuable. So do that kind of early. Get a baseline value of your business.
So I think it would be a great idea. I just thought, because you did your talk at the ABWA meeting, you were our speaker, and we learned so much from you about buying and selling businesses. But really, maybe somebody should meet with you when they you start in business, because technically you're supposed to talk about but maybe 3 to 5 years before
Absolutely.
you think you want to put on the market,
Absolutely.
and then you can help them do the things they need to do to get the most money for their business.
Yes. It's very rare that I meet a business owner who wants to sell and we go to market within even a month. Typically there's a length of time, and often it's 2 to 3 years.
Wow. So you might as well be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And then it doesn't seem so long because you're right on time when you're ready to do it.
So that's number one tip. And as I said, most business owners don't know they need to prepare. So I try to present whenever I have the opportunity like this to get the word out. Hey, business owner, if you think that selling your business at some point is your route out, start to prepare. Okay, so that's the number one thing. The next thing I would suggest is a lot of business owners are very important to their business, and that's fine. I mean, they're leading their business, but when I say important, maybe I mean they
need
are
to be there
the
to
business.
run it. They have to be there for it to run. They
Right.
can't be away for an extended period of time or not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're the major salesperson, or maybe the only salesperson, or they're delivering a lot of the business themselves.
Right.
And that really devalues a business. The most valuable business is one where an owner is working on growing their business, doing more strategic things and leading it rather than in it day to day. And a good test is, can you leave your business for a week or two of vacation without it falling apart?
Yeah.
So
We took our longest vacation in November. We were gone 9 days.
wow. And
Yeah.
how did it go here?
It went well.
Yeah, I would expect it to.
Yeah.
I know you've got your act together. So
Yeah, and I'm always trying to improve all the time. But that was nice.
yeah.
We called in, we were available, but
So why is that so important? Well, you'll want to transition out of your business, and a buyer will want to transition in. And the smoother that goes, the more valuable your business is. And a buyer is going to look at your business, if you're the center of that business, and say, I don't want that. I don't want to work 80 hours a week. I don't want to do all the sales. So it's kind of like grooming your house to go on the market, only it's your business.
yeah.
So I would say try to develop systems and processes.
Very
And
important. So somebody can just step in.
Delegate
And
as
know what
much
to
as
do.
you can. Outsource your marketing if you don't have someone in house. And the third thing is something that is referred to as messy books. And actually,
But a lot of business owners are guilty of that.
at the Apex team meeting on Tuesday, we had a discussion about this because people don't necessarily know what messy books means. I will define it for you. The short story is no profit, no value. Many
That's
business
scary.
owners will run personal expenses through their business to reduce their tax liability to Uncle Sam. And while doing that is something that many people do, what it does is it reduces the value of your business. Because you might be able to convince a buyer that money is really in the business, that the business is really earning that money, but you'll never be able to convince a bank. And remember at the beginning I said banks
bank,
like
yes.
tax returns. And
They hold the purse strings.
and banks typically finance business
Yeah.
acquisitions. So messy books is don't run personal expenses through your business. Don't play inventory games. Some business owners who have a lot of inventory will roll it over to the next year. Well, that's going to catch up with you when you sell. So I would say my top 3 tips are plan ahead, build systems and processes so that you are not critical to the business.
You're working
so
on your business instead of in your business.
And then work on your financials and tax returns to make sure that they're clear, accurate, and that financials and tax returns tie together.
Most definitely.
And that will add value. Yeah.
Right. Because, I mean, you put a lot of hard work into your business. Why not make sure you get the most out of it when it's time for you to move on to other things? I mean, you put a lot of sweat equity and who knows whatever else into your business, you know?
I've been thinking that I assume people know this, but they may not. When business brokers sell businesses for business owners, it's a lot of business words, it's done confidentially. So we don't want your customers, your employees, your competitors to know, because there will be fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is unwarranted. So it's done confidentially, and I just wanted to make sure that anyone who's watching this who doesn't know what a business broker does now knows that business brokers help business owners sell their business confidentially. Yeah.
Right. Well, great information. So if somebody out there in the audience wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
My phone number or my email address. My phone number is 913-433-2315. And my email address is Vaughn at KC, as in Kansas City, apex.com.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate you coming on my own little Sage Spotlight show and telling people about what you do. And
it's nice to be invited. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk with you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. All right. Take care.